In the dead of winter, when the world seems to hold its breath, a man's life hangs by a thread, unconscious in a freezing river. His body, numb and lifeless, is carried by the current, while the cold bites deeper with every passing second. The water is merciless, the sky above heavy with snow. No one is around, no one to hear his silent plea. But there's one creature, a German shepherd named Max, who isn't giving up. His paws are already frozen, his muscles aching, but his eyes are locked on his owner. He's not leaving him behind. Max steps closer to the river's edge, sniffing the air, sensing the desperation. His body shakes, but there's no hesitation in his movements. With a sharp bark, he leaps into the water. The current crashes against him, but he pushes forward, his every instinct driving him to reach his master. Max's movements are frantic but focused. Every stroke is harder than the last. His paws paddle furiously as the freezing water stings him, but he doesn't stop. The man's limp body is heavy, too heavy for Max, but the dog's determination is stronger. He pulls him toward the bank, his claws scraping against the slippery rocks, his body screaming for rest. But Max doesn't care about his own pain. He has one mission, to save his owner. The cold air bites at Max's coat, the river threatening to pull them both under. But with one final, desperate lunge, Max drags the man to safety. He pushes his body up onto the shore, his heart pounding, breath shallow. The man's chest isn't rising. He's still unconscious, still cold. Max circles him, barking frantically, trying to rouse him. He nudges the man's face with his nose, his eyes filled with a mix of fear and hope. There's no movement. The man is still. Max's heart races as he watches the lifeless figure of his master. Time stretches out, the seconds feeling like hours. But then, something shifts. A faint tremor in the man's chest. Max barks once, louder now, his tail stiff with anticipation. Slowly, the man's eyes flutter open, meeting Max's gaze. A soft groan escapes his lips. He's alive. Against all odds, he's alive. Max stands by his side, his ears back, his body still shaking from the cold, but the relief in his eyes is undeniable. The bond between them is unspoken, but stronger than ever. As the snow begins to fall gently around them, Max licks his owner's face, the warmth of his love breaking through the cold. The man, weak but conscious, sits up with Max by his side. Together, they've survived the impossible. Together, they are stronger than any force of nature. Max's breath is heavy, his sides heaving as he watches his owner, still lying motionless on the shore. The cold seems to seep deeper into their bones, but Max stays close, his eyes never leaving the man's face. The river's relentless roar echoes in the distance, but here, on the shore, there is only silence, broken by the faint sound of Max's panting and the wind rustling through the bare trees. His paws press against the snow-covered ground, trying to keep the warmth within himself, his heart racing in the hope that the man will wake. The stillness stretches on, as if the world is holding its breath. Then, almost imperceptibly, the man's hand twitches. Max's ears perk up at the faint movement. He doesn't hesitate. He nudges the man's face with his nose again, more urgently this time, as if willing him to wake. The man's chest rises, then falls again, barely noticeable. Max watches, his eyes locked on him, the only sign of life in the cold landscape. With a soft groan, the man stirs, his eyelids flickering open. Max barks softly, as if to encourage him, and the man blinks, his eyes slowly focusing on the dog's familiar face. There's confusion, then recognition, and something in his expression changes. The bond between them is unspoken, but it's stronger than ever in that moment. The man's hand trembles as he reaches out, his fingers brushing against Max's fur, seeking comfort in the touch. Max leans into him, offering his warmth, his presence, a steady reminder that he's not alone. The man's breath still comes in short gasps, his body weak and battered from the cold, but his pulse is steady. He's alive. Max's tail wags faintly, though his body is still trembling from the cold. The dog looks at his owner with a silent promise that he will never leave him. Slowly, with Max's support, the man shifts his weight, trying to sit up. It's a struggle, but the dog stays close, never leaving his side. The man's vision is blurry, but he can make out the shape of Max beside him, his loyal companion who pulled him from the river's grasp. It feels as if the world is still spinning, the reality of what happened still sinking in. He breathes deeply, trying to gather his strength, his eyes closing for a moment as he remembers the terrifying moments before. The fear, the helplessness. But now, here, with Max beside him, there is hope. The man looks up at the sky, the snow falling softly around them, and for the first time in what feels like forever, he feels a flicker of warmth inside him. The dog's presence is more than just a source of comfort, it's a lifeline. The man looks at Max, his eyes filled with gratitude, and whispers a simple thank you. Max responds with a soft bark, as if to say there's no need for words. Together, they sit in the silence of the cold, both of them recovering from the battle they just fought. The bond they share is undeniable, and in this quiet moment, they understand each other completely. Max, the loyal German shepherd, has saved his owner not just from the freezing river, but from despair itself. The sun has barely risen, casting a faint glow on the landscape as Max and his owner sit quietly by the riverbank. The world around them is still, the snowflakes drifting gently from the sky, as if nature itself is offering a moment of peace after the chaos they've endured. The man, still shivering from the cold, looks down at his loyal companion, the German shepherd who saved his life. Max's fur is still damp, his body cold, but his eyes are calm, a silent promise of unwavering loyalty. The man's heart swells with gratitude, though his body is weak. His hands tremble as he reaches down to pet Max's head, feeling the warmth of his dog's fur against his frozen skin. "You saved me," he whispers, the words barely escaping his lips. Max looks up at him with understanding, as if to say, "That's what I'm here for." Slowly, the man gathers the strength to stand, supported by Max's steady presence. His legs feel like jelly, but he doesn't fall. The dog stays close, never leaving his side. Together, they take their first tentative steps away from the river. Every movement is a struggle, but Max is there, guiding him, offering a sense of stability the man desperately needs. As they walk, the man's thoughts begin to clear. He thinks about the past, about how he ended up in this cold, desolate place. But for the first time in a long time, he pushes those thoughts aside. He focuses on the present, on the dog who's still beside him, helping him move forward. The man takes a deep breath, the cold air biting at his lungs, but it's a reminder that he's alive. "Thank you, Max," he says again, the words more certain this time. Max's tail wags softly in response, and the man can't help but smile. They walk for miles, the quiet beauty of the snow-covered landscape surrounding them, until they find a small cabin tucked away in the woods. It's a humble place, but it offers shelter and warmth. The man helps Max inside, and together they settle by the fire. The warmth begins to seep back into their bones, but the bond they share is the true source of comfort. They've both been through hell, but now they have each other. As the man sits back, feeling the heat of the fire on his skin, he knows this moment is one they'll both remember forever. Max is more than just a dog. He's a hero, a companion, a lifeline. And the man, for the first time since that cold river, feels truly alive, not just because he survived, but because he has someone who will never let him go. The fire crackles softly in the small cabin, filling the room with warmth as Max lays by his owner's side. The man looks down at the loyal German shepherd, his heart full of gratitude. The storm outside is relentless, the snow piling up against the cabin, but inside, there is peace. The man rests his hand on Max's head, feeling the dog's warmth seep into his palm. It's been a long journey, both physically and emotionally. The memories of the river still linger, but they're starting to fade, replaced by a quiet sense of calm. The man breathes deeply, feeling his body slowly recover from the trauma. Max hasn't left his side, staying close, ever watchful. It's in these moments that the true depth of their bond becomes clear. Max isn't just a dog. He's a constant presence, a reminder of resilience, of survival, and of unwavering loyalty. The man thinks back to the days before the river, before everything changed. He had been a different person then, consumed by the weight of his past, weighed down by the struggles of life. But now, with Max beside him, everything feels different. He's not alone anymore. They've both survived, and together, they've found a new beginning. The man glances out the window, watching the snow fall in steady flurries, the the world outside transformed into a winter wonderland. It's peaceful, almost serene, but the man knows the calm is temporary. There will be more challenges ahead, more obstacles to face. But he also knows that with Max by his side, he's ready for whatever comes next. Max stirs beside him, lifting his head, his amber eyes fixed on the man. There's a quiet understanding between them, a silent conversation that only they can share. The man smiles softly, his heart swelling with affection. "Thank you, Max," he whispers, knowing the dog understands. Max's tail gives a faint wag, a silent response, and the man feels the weight of everything he's been through start to lift. For the first time in a long time, he feels a sense of peace. He's not just surviving anymore. He's living, and it's all thanks to the loyal dog who pulled him from the river that day. As the night wears on, the storm outside begins to subside, and the cabin grows quieter. The fire slowly burns down to embers, casting a soft glow across the room. The man and Max are both exhausted, their bodies tired but their spirits renewed. The man lies back, his head resting on the pillow, Max curling up at his feet. It's a simple moment, but one filled with deep contentment. The man closes his eyes, knowing that whatever tomorrow brings, he will face it with Max by his side, ready to conquer the world together. The morning light filters through the cabin window, casting soft beams across the room. The storm has passed, leaving behind a world that is still blanketed in snow. The air is crisp, fresh, and full of possibilities. The man wakes slowly, his body feeling stronger than it has in days. Max is still curled up at the foot of the bed, his coat now dry, his eyes alert but calm. The man stretches, wincing slightly as his muscles protest the movement, but it's a welcome discomfort. He feels alive again, a feeling he hadn't dared to hope for in the dark moments by the river. Max lifts his head as the man moves, his amber eyes never leaving him. There's a quiet moment between them, a shared understanding. The bond they have formed is unspoken, but it's more solid than any words could express. Max rises, stretches his legs, and trots over to the man, his tail wagging slightly. The man reaches down to pet him, and Max leans into the touch, his body warm against the man's hand. They both stand, the man moving cautiously at first, still testing the limits of his strength. But with Max by his side, he feels more confident. They step outside together, the air cold and bracing against their skin. The landscape is breathtaking, the snow glistening in the early morning light, the world quiet and serene. The man takes a deep breath, filling his lungs with the clean, crisp air. It's a reminder that he's still here, still part of this world, and that there's still so much to experience. Max walks beside him, his steps light, but there's a quiet alertness in his demeanor. The dog is always watching, always aware, ready for anything. As they walk through the snow, the man thinks about the journey they've both been on. It's been more than just a physical ordeal. It's been a journey of survival, of trust, and of rediscovery. The man looks down at Max, the dog's gaze meeting his. It's in those moments that he realizes how much he's changed. He's no longer the man who almost drowned in that river. He's someone different, someone who has learned the true meaning of loyalty and friendship. He's stronger now, not just because of the physical recovery, but because of the bond he shares with Max. They are a team, and no matter what lies ahead, they will face it together. The man smiles as they continue to walk through the snow, the silence between them comfortable, filled with the understanding that they are no longer just surviving. They are living. And that, more than anything, is a miracle in itself. Days have passed since the storm, and the man feels stronger with each one. The cabin has become a refuge, a place of healing, not just for his body, but for his spirit. Max remains by his side, as loyal as ever, never straying far from him. The bond between them has deepened, and with each passing day, the man feels more and more like his old self. The ache in his muscles fades, and the mental fog that once clouded his thoughts starts to lift. One morning, the man wakes to the sound of birds chirping outside the cabin. The sun is rising higher, and the light filters softly through the window, warming the room with a gentle glow. Max stirs at the foot of the bed, his ears perking up as the man slowly sits up. It's a new day, and the man knows it's time to move forward. He takes a deep breath, feeling the steady rhythm of his breath as he stands, his legs no longer trembling as they once did. Max watches him with steady eyes, his tail wagging once as the man walks over to the small stove to prepare some breakfast. The room is filled with the comforting scent of coffee, and for a moment, everything feels normal. The man glances out the window, where the snow-covered landscape stretches out before him. It's a sight he's come to appreciate, the stillness of nature offering him the peace he so desperately needed. Max pads over to him, nudging his hand as he finishes making his coffee. The man smiles, feeling the familiar sense of warmth that only Max can provide. "Ready for a walk?" he asks, knowing the answer before the dog even moves. Max's tail wags faster, and he barks once, excited for the adventure ahead. The man laughs softly, grabbing his coat and stepping outside into the cold, the crisp air filling his lungs as he breathes in deeply. Max bounds ahead, his paws crunching in the snow as the man follows, taking slow but steady steps. The world around them is still quiet, but it feels different now. There's a sense of purpose in the air, a promise that things are getting better. The man watches Max as the dog runs ahead, his energy infectious. The man feels lighter, his heart less burdened. He has a new sense of determination now, a quiet strength that comes from knowing he's not alone. They walk for miles through the snow-covered woods, the silence between them comforting, each step taking them further from the past and closer to whatever lies ahead. The man feels a new sense of freedom, a release from the chains of fear that once held him back. With Max by his side, he knows he can face anything. As the sun begins to dip low in the sky, casting a golden hue across the landscape, they make their way back to the cabin. The man's muscles ache from the walk, but it's a good kind of ache. He feels alive, truly alive, for the first time in a long time. He glances down at Max, who trots beside him, his eyes bright with the same sense of freedom the man feels. They've both come a long way since that day by the river. They've both been given a second chance, and the man knows he won't waste it. He won't waste a single moment, because he now knows what it means to truly live. The days blend together as the man and Max continue their quiet life in the cabin. The mornings are peaceful, filled with the sound of birds chirping and the scent of fresh coffee filling the air. The man spends his days walking through the woods with Max, each step bringing a sense of calm he hadn't felt in years. The bond between them deepens with every passing day. Max is always there, by his side, a constant reminder that he's not alone. The man has come to appreciate the simple moments, the warmth of the fire, the stillness of the woods, and the unwavering companionship of his dog. One morning, the man wakes up earlier than usual. The cabin is still dark, the fire from the night before, just a few glowing embers. He looks over at Max, who is still asleep at the foot of the bed, his breathing steady and calm. The man sits up, stretching his stiff limbs, and gazes out the window. The first rays of sunlight are beginning to break through the trees, casting long shadows on the snow-covered ground. There's something peaceful about it. For the first time in a long time, the man feels a sense of clarity. The pain from the river, the cold, and the fear that once consumed him now feel distant. He's here, in this moment, alive and free. Max stirs beside him, sensing that something is different. The dog stretches and slowly stands up, walking over to the man. He nudges. His hand, his tail wagging softly, a simple gesture that speaks volumes. The man smiles, reaching down to pet Max. "Ready for another walk, buddy?" he asks quietly. Max barks in response, his excitement palpable. They step outside into the crisp morning air, the world around them still and silent. The snow crunches beneath their boots as they walk, the man's thoughts drifting as they move deeper into the woods. The forest is alive in its own way, quiet, but full of life. Birds fly overhead, and the occasional rustle in the trees reminds them that they're not the only creatures out here. The man feels a sense of belonging in the woods, as if nature has embraced him, offering him a place to heal and grow. As they walk, the man thinks about the future. He doesn't know what lies ahead, but he knows that with Max by his side, he's ready for whatever comes. The road ahead is unknown, but for the first time, he feels a sense of peace about it. Max pauses for a moment, his ears perked as he looks out into the distance. The man stops too, following his gaze. There's a sense of alertness in the dog, a quiet readiness, as if he's always on the lookout, always prepared to protect his owner. The The man rests his hand on Max's head, feeling the warmth of his loyal companion. He's not just walking through life anymore. He's living it, with purpose, with hope, and with a dog who will never let him down. They continue their walk, the silence between them comfortable, the bond between them unbreakable. The man knows that no matter what the future holds, he and Max will face it together. The days have become easier as the man and Max continue their life in the cabin. The once overwhelming weight of survival now feels like a distant memory, replaced by a sense of peace that settles over them each day. The man has come to cherish the routine they've built together, waking early, walking through the woods, tending to the fire, and sharing quiet moments of companionship. Max's presence is a constant comfort. The bond between them has become something unbreakable, a silent understanding that speaks volumes. One morning, after a long walk, the man finds himself sitting by the fire, his feet propped up on a small stool, Max laying beside him. The warmth from the crackling flames feels good on his skin, and the steady rhythm of the fire is soothing. He watches Max as the dog lies there, his eyes half closed, content. The man thinks about how far they've come since the day by the river. It feels like a lifetime ago, but at the same time, it feels like only yesterday. The fear, the cold, the uncertainty, everything that once seemed overwhelming, has faded into the background. Now, it's just him and Max, two beings who found each other when they needed it most. The man reaches down, scratching Max behind the ears. The dog looks up at him, his amber eyes warm and trusting. The man smiles, feeling a wave of gratitude wash over him. "You've been my rock, Max," he murmurs, his voice soft. Max wags his tail in response, his eyes never leaving his owner's face. The connection between them is more than just that of a man and his dog. It's something deeper, something unspoken. The man has learned, through the trials they've faced together, what it means to truly rely on someone. Max has shown him what it means to trust, to fight for survival, and to love without hesitation. As the fire burns low, the man gets up and walks over to the window. He looks out at the snowy landscape, the woods stretching out in all directions. The world is quiet, but it feels alive with possibility. He feels a sense of contentment, something he hasn't felt in a long time. There is no more fear of the unknown. With Max by his side, he's ready for whatever the future holds. The man turns back to the fire, watching the flames flicker. He feels Max's presence beside him, a constant, reassuring force. Together, they've found a new beginning, one that's built on trust, loyalty, and the simple joy of being together. The man knows that whatever comes next, they will face it together, side by side. And with that thought, he knows that he's no longer just surviving. He's truly living. The cabin has become a true home now, a place where the man feels both peace and purpose. The fire in the hearth burns brightly, crackling in the quiet evenings, as the man sits in his favorite chair, a worn but comfortable spot by the window. Max lies beside him, as always, his head resting on the man's feet, his warm body a constant reminder of their shared journey. The man takes a deep breath, feeling the weight of the world lift from his shoulders, piece by piece, with each passing day. The silence between them is no longer unsettling. It's a comfort. It's a space where they both feel understood without needing to speak. The world outside remains untouched by the chaos he left behind. The snow still falls gently, covering the forest in a blanket of pure white. Everything seems so still, so perfect in its simplicity. He has come to realize that peace doesn't come from running away, but from accepting the moment and finding comfort in what you have. And now, in this cabin with Max by his side, he knows he has everything he needs. The days are simple, but they are full of small joys. Walking with Max through the woods has become a ritual, one the man now looks forward to each morning. They explore together, the dog running ahead, his paws crunching through the fresh snow, while the man follows, his steps growing stronger with each day. The air is colder now, but it doesn't bother him. He's no longer running from the world. He's walking alongside it, at peace with himself and with Max. On one of these walks, they come across a small clearing. The man pauses, looking around at the tall trees that surround them, their branches heavy with snow. The sun is setting, casting a golden hue over everything, and for a moment, the man feels like he's the only one alive in the world. The quiet is almost sacred. Max sits by his side, his eyes trained on the man, as if waiting for something. The man reaches down to pat Max on the head, a smile tugging at his lips. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" he says quietly. Max looks up at him, his tail wagging slightly, as if in agreement. The man feels a wave of emotion wash over him. He never imagined he would be here, in this place, at peace, with everything he once thought lost. He thought he was beyond saving, but Max had saved him, not just from the river, but from the darkness inside himself. Max had shown him what it means to keep going, even when everything seems impossible. They sit together in the clearing, watching the sunset in silence. The man doesn't need words to express his gratitude. Max already knows. They don't need much to be content. All they need is each other, and in this moment, that is more than enough. The man stands, his legs a little stronger than before. He helps Max to his feet, and together, they start the walk back to the cabin, the warmth of their bond enough to carry them through the cold. The man looks up at the sky, the first stars beginning to appear. He feels, for the first time in a long time, truly at home. The seasons continue to change as the man and Max settle deeper into their routine. The once harsh winter has given way to the soft, budding warmth of spring. The snow has melted, revealing patches of green grass and wildflowers that hit the forest floor. The air is fresher, carrying the scent of new beginnings. The man takes in a deep breath as he walks outside, feeling the sun on his face for the first time in months. Max trots happily ahead, his tail wagging as he explores the changing world around him. The man has come to appreciate the quiet transformation that happens in nature, just as it's happening within him. He's no longer the man who once feared the future. With each passing day, he feels more like himself again, whole, and ready to embrace whatever comes next. Max, ever the loyal companion, stays close by his side. The dog's presence has been a steady comfort, reminding the man that even when life feels uncertain, they have each other. One morning, as the man sits on the porch, enjoying a warm cup of coffee, he watches Max run through the yard, chasing a butterfly that flits lazily through the air. The scene is peaceful, idyllic even, and the man can't help but smile. The simple joy of watching his dog at play fills him with a sense of contentment he never thought he would experience again. His mind drifts back to the days when everything seemed lost. The fear that gripped him after the river, the feeling of being adrift in a world that had no place for him. But now, with Max by his side, he knows he has found his place. They have built something together, a life that is theirs, built on trust, loyalty, and love. As Max bounds over, his playful bark breaking the silence, the man's heart swells with gratitude. He thinks about the long road that brought him here, the river, the fear, the struggle, but it all led him to this moment, sitting on the porch with his dog, watching the world come to life around them. The man knows that there are still challenges ahead, moments when life will test him again, but with Max by his side, he feels ready to face them. There is no longer any fear of the unknown. He has learned to embrace the quiet, the simple moments, and the love that fills the spaces between them. They've both earned this peace, this quiet happiness that comes from living in the moment, without regret. As the sun sets, casting a golden glow over the landscape, the man and Max sit together on the porch, the day winding down, but their bond stronger than ever. The world is calm, and for the first time in a long time, the man feels that everything is as it should be. The days continue to drift by in a quiet rhythm, the seasons shifting gently around the cabin. Max and the man are now fully in tune with the life they have built together, each day a quiet testament to their shared survival and unspoken bond. The man wakes each morning to the sound of birds chirping, the air cool and fresh with the promise of a new day. Max, ever faithful, is already awake, sitting by the door, waiting for his daily routine to begin. They step outside, the man's body stronger now, no longer the fragile, broken figure he once was. He feels the earth beneath his feet, steady and firm, a solid foundation for the life he is reclaiming. Max runs ahead, as he always does, his coat sleek and shining in the morning light, his energy boundless. The man watches him, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the dog's constant presence. Max has become more than just a pet. He is a companion, a friend, a reminder of the strength and resilience that exists in both of them. Their walks through the woods have become a routine that the man looks forward to every day. They explore new paths, discover hidden streams, and enjoy the solitude of the forest. Together, the woods have become their sanctuary, a place where the man can breathe deeply and let go of the weight of the past. As the days stretch into weeks, the man finds himself more at peace with the world around him. He no longer fears what tomorrow may bring, because he knows that with Max by his side, he is ready for whatever it is. They have faced the harshest trials together, and each challenge has only strengthened their bond. The man knows he's not the same person who once stood by the river, lost and broken. He's become someone new, someone whole. And Max has been with him every step of the way. One evening, as the sun begins to dip below the horizon, casting a soft glow across the landscape, the man and Max sit on the porch of the cabin, watching the sky change colors. The air is cool, the silence comfortable. The man rests his hand on Max's head, feeling the warmth of the dog's fur beneath his palm. It's in these moments, these quiet, simple moments, that the man feels the weight of everything he's been through lift away. He has found peace. He has found purpose. And he knows that as long as Max is by his side, he will never have to face another day alone. The sky darkens, the stars beginning to twinkle above them, and the man looks up, taking in the vastness of the universe. He feels small, but in the best way possible. The world is big, and there is so much to see, so much to experience. But for now, in this moment, he is content. Max shifts beside him, curling up at his feet, and the man smiles, knowing that they have everything they need right here, together. The days continue to unfold like pages of a new chapter, each one more hopeful than the last. The man and Max, together in the cabin, have created a life that is simple but fulfilling. Each morning is met with the promise of a fresh start, and every night, the warmth of the fire brings them peace. The once lonely man, who had found himself adrift in a sea of despair, now finds joy in the small things. A cup of coffee shared with his loyal dog, the quiet rustle of the trees outside, the sound of Max's playful bark echoing through the woods. Time seems to slow in the cabin, and the man no longer feels the need to rush through his days. There's no more hurry, no more uncertainty. He and Max have settled into a rhythm, a bond that's been forged through the trials of the past. The man looks at Max, his heart full of gratitude for the dog's unwavering presence. Max has been more than just a pet. He's been a savior, a companion, and a friend when the man had none. Max has pulled him out of the darkest moments of his life, and now, every day they spend together is a reminder of that incredible bond. As the days turn into weeks, the man finds himself thinking less about the past and more about the future. The fear and uncertainty that once clouded his mind are slowly being replaced by a sense of optimism. He doesn't know exactly what the future holds, but he knows he is no longer afraid of it. He has learned to take each day as it comes, to appreciate the beauty of the present moment. One evening, as the sun begins to set and the sky is painted with hues of orange and pink, the man takes a walk with Max along the path that leads to the edge of the woods. The world around them is peaceful, the quiet only broken by the soft crunch of their footsteps on the gravel path. The man feels a deep sense of contentment as he watches Max run ahead, the dog's joy infectious. For the first time in a long time, the man feels completely at home in his own life. He has found a place of peace, a place of belonging, and he knows that Max will always be by his side. As the sun disappears behind the horizon, the man stands still for a moment, looking out over the landscape. The cabin, the woods, Max, this is everything he needs. The past has taught him many things, but the most important lesson has been this. No matter how dark things may seem, there is always a way forward, always a chance for redemption. And with Max by his side, the man knows that whatever comes next, they will face it together, side by side. As time moves forward, the seasons continue to change, bringing with them a gentle sense of renewal. The man, now fully healed, walks through the woods with Max by his side, feeling the warmth of the sun on his face and the coolness of the earth beneath his feet. The world around them is vibrant and alive, filled with the sounds of birds singing and the rustle of the leaves in the trees. Every step they take together feels like a small victory, a reminder of how far they've come. The bond between them is undeniable. Max, once a mere companion, has become the man's anchor, the one constant in a world that once felt chaotic and uncertain. The man has learned to appreciate the small moments, the way the light filters through the trees, the quiet of the morning, and the unconditional love that Max gives so freely. They reach the clearing where they often sit together, the man leaning back against a tree, Max lying beside him, his head resting on the man's lap. The man smiles, running his fingers through the dog's fur, feeling a deep sense of contentment. Life has become simpler, but in the best possible way. He's no longer burdened by the weight of his past, no longer chasing after something that seems just out of reach. Instead, he's learned to live in the moment, to appreciate the beauty that exists right in front of him. Max lifts his head, looking up at the man with eyes full of trust and love. The man feels a wave of gratitude wash over him. He never could have imagined that a simple walk in the woods would bring him so much peace. But here, with Max by his side, he knows that he is exactly where he's meant to be. The days continue to pass in this quiet rhythm, the world outside changing, but the bond between the man and Max remains steadfast. They have faced the storm together, weathered the darkest days, and now they are stronger for it. The man knows that there will always be challenges ahead, but with Max by his side, he feels ready to face whatever comes. The world may continue to shift around them, but they have found a steady place in each other. Together, they have created a life that is full of love, hope, and the promise of tomorrow. The man looks up at the sky, taking a deep breath of the cool, fresh air. There is still so much to discover, so many adventures waiting to be had. And as long as Max is with him, he knows that whatever comes next, they will face it together, side by side.